Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Stronger. I'm so excited to introduce you to, even though he needs no introduction, Matt Bomer. So Matt has become a very good friend. He reached out to me years ago about training. I had the privilege of being able to prep Matt for several different roles. I think he is an acting savant. This guy is incredible on the stage, on the big screen, but he is also an absolute student in reference to his health and wellness. We've talked about family. We talked about his acting career, pivoting from different roles, even some of the anxieties in the business. I think it's a very interesting interview, and I know for a fact that all of you are going to connect really closely with this. Let's get ready to go. All right, guys, first off, I have to thank my sponsors, one of them right now being MitoPure. Thank you guys for just being a loyal sponsor of ours. Probably, I think it was our first one. Was that our first sponsor? Yeah, I think it was. I'm saying it was. So they have a few different products. They have MitoPure, which is a urolithin A product, which is why I am in my 60s and I look like I'm in my early 40s. So I've been taking this product for a while. My skin, my lines, my energy level, my mitochondrial function is fantastic. And this is one of those supplements. I like supplements, but you got to understand, I really value the importance of nutrition and sleep. MitoPure, their urolithin A supplement, I take 4 capsules a day. That's 1,000 milligrams. I take it religiously, and I really can't travel without it now because I have seen benefits come from this with probably about 3 to 6 months. I just started feeling like my skin was glowing a little bit more. I was feeling a bit younger. I was. Okay, I'm not 60, I'm 48. Cat's out of the bag now. They also have these gummies that are delicious. And they also have a powder, which is fantastic as well if you're into powders. So that's it, guys. MitoPure, again, thank you again. Timeline, thank you. And Timeline is offering 20% off your first order of MitoPure. Go to timeline.com/stronger. That's TIMELINE.com/stronger. I can't believe I actually had to read how to spell timeline. I did though. Thanks, guys. We would not be able to do this incredible show without our special sponsors. I'm very grateful to Cozy Earth. Couple things. They sent me this bubble cuddle blanket. It's a bubble cuddle blanket. I'm a 48-year-old grown man. You'd think I wouldn't want to lay in this. And my dog, Sambuca, it's the same color of him. So when I go into my room, Sambuca's wrapped in this blanket. I can't tell he's in it. And he looks comfortable. And the next thing you know, I'm laying on a bubble cuddle blanket, like in love with this thing. But guys, I'm telling you, this thing is magic. Your dogs are gonna love it. Your partner's gonna love it. Ladies, I don't care. This thing is unbelievable. And you know what's fantastic about it too? Is like when I go down to the couch and I'm watching the Mets lose, I like grabbing a blanket and throwing it on me. And it's been like a great throw blanket for me. So my dog loves it when we're laying in bed, and then I love it when I'm on the couch. So great stuff. Check it out. And something that I love even more than the bubble cuddle blanket are these Cozy Earth bamboo sheets. And the reason is that I get really hot. My body just gets hot in bed. Like my wife's going to kill me because the thermostat's on 64, 65 degrees. She's wrapped in the Cozy Earth bubble cuddle blanket to keep warm. And I'm sitting there like, how do I get my bed cooler? And these Cozy Earth bamboo sheets are actually cooling. Head to CozyEarth.com. I'm going to read now. Head to CozyEarth.com and use my code STRONGER for up to 20% off. That's CozyEarth.com. Code STRONGER, STRONGER. And if you get a post-purchase survey, make sure to let them know you heard about Cozy Earth right here. We want a pat on the back from Cozy Earth. We like them so much that we want them to know and feel like, you know what? We have their back, right? These partnerships are very important to us. So head to CozyEarth.com and use my code STRONGER for up to 20% off. That's Cozy, CozyEarth.com, code STRONGER. Thanks, guys. So I wanted to bring something up. So you and I have something in common, really serious. You want to know what it is?
Yeah, I do.
Okay, we both have a rubber ducky in our cold plunge.
Yes.
What's yours called? Quack,
I think I just
Quacker,
made
you
that up
it
to be silly. I said quackers.
Quacker.
We don't have a personal enough relationship to
it.
name him because I'm in such a destitute circumstance. Whenever I see him, I kind of dread seeing him. But now I have little flamingos too.
Oh,
yeah.
Now I feel
just
inadequate.
So he wouldn't be alone, you know? I'll send you some.
No, but the rubber ducky does help. I mean, I'm sit down, I'm looking at him, and he flips upside down all the time. But I'm just kind of like, I don't even want to touch him because I'm trying to keep my arms underneath.
Yes, yeah, it does give you some sense of, oh, this is kind of a bath, except I'm
freezing my ass off. You've been cold plunging a lot though, right? That's something that you enjoy?
have, especially with the warmer weather. Sometimes when it's, mornings, and if I'm in California, mornings and evenings in the winter can get pretty chilly.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes I will just like do a cold shower or something like that. But now I plunge. I think we have the same plunge.
The Renew.
The Renew.
I'll give them a shout out. I love the company.
Yes.
I've been using it actually first thing in the morning. Most mornings, sometimes you get preoccupied or you have meetings, but 30 seconds, that's it.
Oh, wow.
I'll jump in. So I met with this guy, Andy O'Brien, who's Sidney Crosby's strength coach, and he does a lot of research on recovery. And I was talking to him about how, the 3 minutes, which I like to do on my off days. I know you do that. Sometimes first thing that zaps me a bit and I get a little like relaxed and calm before a training session. He's like, dude, try 30 seconds. It'll just kind of spike your adrenaline.
Oh, dude.
So I'll jump in for 30. I'll do red light. I'll jump in for 30. I'm in the shower and I'm downstairs like someone just poured coffee down my eyelids.
Yes.
And I'm like, oh my God. And I'm ready to go. And I actually feel like that's enhanced my workouts a bit.
Well, I'm going to try the 30 seconds.
Plus it's less time.
Music to my ears, man. Because 3 minutes sometimes that can...
Oh no, it sucks.
Yeah, it hurts a little bit. But 30 seconds. Okay. I will say if you are trying to cut down on caffeine and you're lucky enough to have access to any kind of cold plunge or even a cold shower,
it's real.
It will definitely help you in that department.
Especially in the afternoon. Sometimes, I don't know if you ever have evening calls, but sometimes I do. And that 3 o'clock, jumping in it for a few minutes, getting out, taking a shower, you're like, okay, I'm ready to go. I got my second win. So
yeah, no, that's definitely a perk. I find like you though, that if I do it for 3 minutes first thing in the morning, I mean, I'm peaked for like 6 hours, but then sometimes like 3 or 4 p.m. would roll around and you're
like ready for a nap.
Yeah.
It's tough too. I mean, if you think about it, we do a lot between training and calls and life and work. You do a lot. So never do. And I tell people never do that afternoon caffeine because that's just going to wreck your sleep. And that's something where when do you try and cut caffeine off by?
I am sensitive to caffeine, so I usually cut it off by noon.
Yeah. I got to do like 9, 10.
I'll do a decaf in the afternoon.
Okay.
If I'm like really like just need to mentally think that I'm more awake than I am.
Yeah.
I'll do that. But yeah, I can't play with it afternoon or it's going to be not a great night's sleep.
And then on a serious note, putting the rubber ducky aside, what you did for my daughter, I'm incredibly grateful for. And people obviously I'm not expecting them to know the story, but my daughter spoke to one of my clients who's a big finance person and the guy completely talked her out of chasing her dream. And with me, I believe in passion and purpose. Don't chase the money, chase what you believe in the beginning and what you love. Yeah. And I think things will evolve from that. I'm just a believer. Yeah. And she was going to get into a field that she didn't. And you offered your time and she spent 30 minutes on a call with you. And the next thing you know, she came in and she goes, I'm getting a degree of Bachelor of Fine Arts. And I said, Matt did his job. And I was super proud of it. But I was forever grateful. She's like been on cloud nine since talking to you.
Well,
so
she's phenomenally talented.
Thank you.
To start with. And
thank you.
I agree with you. I think you have to follow your passion. If you're lucky enough to know what that passion is, so many people get to the age of college and they don't know what that passion is. And it seems like she really had a fire to do the performing arts. So I didn't have any agenda in talking to her. I just wanted to share my experience and a pathway because I was lucky enough that somebody laid that pathway out for me when I was her age, and that changed my life. So I'm glad she responded to it, and we're lucky to have her in the artist community.
No, I'm really excited.
Talented. Are you empty nesting now?
No. I got my son Donnie.
Oh, that's right.
I've only got 2 years, then I'll be empty nesting.
Same.
Yeah,
we're in the same trajectory, more or less. Yeah.
So
our oldest is at college, and our twins will be juniors next year.
Oh, same with me. So Donnie's going to be a junior.
Nice.
Are they starting to look at the whole college route or no? Are they thinking?
They're counselors right now at camp, and they said that they're really going to put a lot of thought into it this summer as their counselors and have some kind of an idea when they come back.
Right.
That's their plan, I guess. But I think it will probably evolve over the course of their junior year, and we'll visit schools and things like that. So
it could be a bit, I mean, for most parents, it gets a bit stressful, the whole college thing, because, you want them to have an experience. But on the other hand, part of me is like, I don't want them to be far because I want to see them, but I also want them to go and grow and evolve as people. So
I mean, I am so in support of wherever they want to go,
Yeah.
even if it were far away. I went far away for college, and to
Where'd
me,
you go?
I
Oh,
went
you
to
were
Carnegie Mellon in
but
Pittsburgh, but I was in high school in Spring, Texas, which is now it's a suburb of
that I didn't
Houston.
know. I didn't know that you were in Texas.
Yeah,
Okay.
I was in like well, it was more of like a Friday Night Lights town back then, but now it's like a proper city, Spring. Yeah, so I don't even know if I applied. I think maybe I applied to SMU in Texas, but that was it because they had a performing arts program. But yeah, I went pretty far away, and that was so great for me to be able to just explore artistry and see who I was and explore my identity and all those things being outside of Texas. So I support our kids wherever they want to go, I guess.
Yeah,
you know, it is hard, but if they're in the U.S., like you can always try to visit on Parents' Weekend,
But it's emotional. I'm not gonna lie.
yeah. I'll definitely. I was just saying to my husband when we were dropping our kids off at camp, because I almost cried dropping our twins off at camp.
Oh yeah.
So I was like, this is going to be. There's always that moment.
Who's more emotional, you or your husband?
I would say with the college thing, I kind of backed up a little bit because he was super emotional about the college thing.
Right.
And I was like, if we're both too, I
Let's
have
be a
to
mess.
try to be, yeah. I was like, I have to try to at least use my actor hat and try to be stoic at this point in time, just to make it a little bit easier. But I'm definitely just as emotional inside, I would say.
I'm going to be way worse than my wife. My wife's a little more like, she can keep it together more.
Yeah.
I'm going to be sitting there like
well, so much of my life as an artist has been transient.
Yeah.
I'm constantly having to pick up and move to a new place, have a whole new creative family, meet an entirely new group of coworkers. And so I guess that sort of sense of migration to a new place and building a whole new world just feels a little bit easier to me now. And I know that they're equipped to be okay in that environment.
Right. So part of like what you do, and I've been observing and watching you on the screen for years, and the thing I always see out there, like there's actors and there's actors, and I always consider you like an actor. Like you're even by your peers, they're always like, oh wow, he's the real deal. I think it's a really nice compliment. But I think your versatility from role to role is something that I think is really special. Was that something that you just knew early on, like I'm not going to go live in one role, or I'm not going to just be doing comedy? I mean, you've really challenged yourself by going after different roles. And when I think of actors and how they have to carry themselves in Hollywood, like you're like kind of the epitome.
No, I'm definitely not.
No. But I'm giving you a compliment here and I haven't said that to any of my people in here. I mean, a lot of them are great actors, but I just feel like how you carry yourself and things that you do for the community and how you're so focused on family and how you keep that private. Like I commend you for it, because it's very difficult to be in the situation you're in when you're traveling and your husband's a powerhouse in what he does, and keeping a family grounded. That's got to be one of your biggest challenges.
It is. I think part of it's probably de-romanticized the artist life to our kids in a lot of ways. Yeah. But I think a lot of it's just the road rising up to meet you and opportunities that you're lucky enough to come across. And when you're starting out, obviously you don't really have a lot of control or say in what. I remember the first movie I did, it was with I'll try not to name drop throughout this podcast, but with an Oscar-winning actress, and she had her best friend who was there, and her best friend said to me, just take any role you can and just get your foot in the door right now, which was kind of the antithesis of what I'd thought about in drama school. I was like, I better be picky and choose this and do this. Mm-hmm. But so much of the work, as you know, in your field, probably even more, is about relationships and showing up and working with people and connecting with people in a way that they know you're going to give your absolute best if you have 3 lines or if you're number 1 on the call sheet. And so I think that helps to pave the way. And then, I went to acting school. So for me, it was so much of the joy of getting to be in a conservatory is getting to explore all these different roles. And, there were times in the same day where you're playing Hamlet in one class, and then you're doing restoration comedy in another class, then you're doing something contemporary in another class, and then you're building sets for the seniors who are doing something else. So getting to, kind of jump between all those different types of roles, it was so appealing to me. And I always want to challenge myself. And even if I fall on my face, I do, if it doesn't scare me a little bit, it's hard for me to get excited about it, because I know if it does scare me, it's A, challenging my ego, and B, something that I'm going to have to dig or go to a place I've never gone before if I'm even going to try to do it. And so there's something about that that's really thrilling to me. And then to the last thing you said, I think, and you know this because you embody this way more than I do, but just when you have whatever your mission statement purpose is, and whether you have one or not, I think it's good to have one, just to include other people in it.
Yeah.
And to share whatever you've been afforded with others, and whether that's wisdom or experience or any advice you can pass on to somebody, or just give back to your community or the world at large. I think that's always kind of tied into what I'm trying to do professionally as well.
What about roles? Like, I mean, are you ever kind of embarking on a role where you're just scared shitless? You're like, oh my God, like this is not no, but I've never really asked this question.
Yeah.
Like, have you gotten into something where, actually, I've never asked this question.
Yeah.
Have you gotten into something where you're saying to yourself, wow, I don't like, this is completely out of my comfort zone, but I need to do this?
Yeah.
Can you talk about that
quite
a little
bit?
bit?
I mean, I think I always have, with any role that's kind of worth its time, I kind of always have a dark night of the soul that I have to get through, where I'm like, I'm really racked with self-doubt. I'm like, what were you thinking? Why would you sign on to do this? This is your, this is going to be your last job. Like, what were you thinking?
I love it.
You are toast.
I love it.
And so I have to kind of come face to face with that. And sometimes my poor husband bears the brunt of my self-doubt. I'm like, what am I doing? But I have to face that, and then, kind of try to transcend that, not for my own ego, but to serve the material. And usually when I find myself in that predicament, it's because I'm looking too much at myself, and I'm not looking outside of myself holistically as much as I can. And once you get a sense of serving something bigger than you, then I feel like that takes a lot of that pressure off, because I just kind of see myself as a vessel. So like when we were doing Fellow Travelers, which is a project that I sold and took 3 years to get into development, and then we were finally on camera. I mean, that's when it hit me. I was like, how am I going to play this role? And I was so racked with fear. And thankfully, I just come off a film, Maestro, with Bradley Cooper.
Yeah.
And he and Carey Mulligan had both kind of had to like time jump in that and have this romantic relationship that went across multiple decades. So I'd watch these two masters of the craft do it right in front of me. So I was like, okay, this can be done. I'm not saying I can do it on their level, but it's possible to do this. And so that was like, I felt like that was just a gift from higher power, God, whatever you want to refer to it as. And so that was like a little bit of a encouraging thing. But then the second day, it's the one and only time, I mean, knock on wood, that I got COVID.
Oh no.
And there wasn't anything they could film without me.
Oh.
So the whole production had to shut down for 10 days.
This is what people aren't realizing.
Yeah.
And I get asked the question all the time, is it harder to work with actors or is it harder to work with athletes? And I'm like, but most strength coaches get offended, because I'm like, oh no, it's, and I've said this before. I'm like, oh no, it's actors.
Yeah.
And they're like, why? I'm like, there's an entire set that may be in a different time zone. They're away from their family. They're learning a new craft, a new skill that they've never learned. Like Tom Brady's always out there throwing the football, right?
Yeah.
And that's something he's done his whole life. Like, you're not playing the same role every single day to where you're like, I can get comfortable with this. Oh, and I'm 6 hours away from my 3 boys and my husband, and someone in your family gets sick or you get COVID.
Yeah.
I'll put Ryan Reynolds on the set of Deadpool, and he got walking pneumonia.
Oh my gosh, that's worse than COVID.
It was terrible. And he didn't even show it.
Oh, wow.
And he was just kind of like distancing, and like they couldn't stop shooting.
Wow.
Like he had to push through it, and he's trying to train with me, and I'm like, dude, sleep.
Wow.
Like, we were public. We talked about it later on, but they don't have. There's no calling in to work because I have a sore throat and I'm going to take a personal day. Like, it's.
I mean, I've never missed a day of work. It was the only time I've ever missed a day of work.
COVID, yeah.
But it was at that time when we were just coming out of the pandemic, when it was an automatic shutdown. So I was like racked with guilt that I had incurred this fee from the insurance company. And I was like, and I'm taking on this incredibly challenging role where I have to play somebody from the 1950s through the 1980s. But
this was your movie. You weren't just acting in this.
I was producing it as well.
Yeah, which is like double pressure in my mind.
Yeah, double pressure. So on my producer hat, I'm like, no, let's get back to work.
You're like, I can't.
But in a way, oddly kind of this gift because I had been just spinning and spinning, going from job to job to job. And it was the first time I really got to just settle in and like revisit the material without any sense of rush because I knew I had 10 days. And there was something about that that just enabled me to, again, look at it from outside just myself and what was the bigger sense of this project. And sometimes when you're working on things, not always, but you get the sense that the story, and I don't mean to sound too esoteric,
No, it's cool.
but the story is coming through for a reason, and it's way bigger than you, and you just have to kind of get out of the way and just do your part in it so that it can come through. And there are little signs that happen, like doors that close that don't ever seem like they're going to open, and then suddenly they blow open or whatever it is. And so this was just, there were signs like that all around this project. And so it gave me a sense to just kind of get outside myself and really think about how I could serve the piece.
So one common theme on this podcast is resilience. And I think we were talking about it a little bit earlier. There hasn't been a person I brought in, or I don't think there's one successful human being I've ever been around where at some point they were like, oh my God, I'm going to be unhireable. You hear these, monsters in their industry who have gone through those struggles, and you realize that that's not what people see. People just see you on white collar, or you shooting, this like great looking guy who's like acting and doing his thing, or putting out a movie with Bradley Cooper and producing, and they see this and they're like, oh wow, it's just been easy.
Yeah. People always see the end result and think that, oh, he just kind of showed up and now he gets to go walk down red carpets or whatever it is.
But it's not, but it's like,
it's such a crazy road.
You're fighting the fight. Yeah. Tell us. I mean, and that's what I want people to hear these stories because I want them to keep pushing.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's so interesting, even on a day-to-day basis, especially when I'm in New York because white collar filmed here, but people always associate you with whatever the first role they saw you on screen was. And for me, 90% of the time that's white collar because it was the first time that, they used my face in the marketing and there was an actual marketing budget and it was put out there and the show did well. And so it's so funny to me because I come from more of a blue collar upbringing, and the fact that people associate me with like anything white collar is hilarious to me. I mean, I worked in the gas pipeline with my brother for one summer. So talk about, creating some hormesis for yourself. Like that was, I had to dig deep to do that. He's an engineer, but it was just a great way to make some money in the summer. And then I quickly realized that I was going to go, do like a Shakespeare festival the next summer because those were more my people, but love my brother. He's amazing. But so I think a lot of it was just built up through my childhood. I have parents who are incredibly resilient people as well, and who have been through a tremendous amount, and just watching how they've transcended that and survived that and kept their head up was huge for me. And I do think, again, I'm not going to drop names, but I have a friend who's, I would say, probably one of the top 5 most famous people in the world. And she said to me, she was like, it's not about how many times you get knocked down. It's about how many times you get up. Mm-hmm. And there's so many times in my career when, and even, it's not something that goes away after your first couple of jobs, when you think, oh, God, this is it. Like, I don't know. You're just racked with guilt and remorse or doubt or whatever it is. And again, it's about kind of giving yourself a chance to lick your wounds or whatever it is, but then getting back up on your horse. And again, I think it goes back to putting the focus outside of just yourself. And I remember when I was really struggling as an actor and I'd done a pilot and then I was testing for all these pilots and not getting them, but I would always be between me and one other guy. And I was really down, and I started volunteering. And I worked in Children's Hospital, and I worked in like the burn victims unit of the Children's Hospital and stuff like that. And giving back in whatever way I could gave me such a sense of purpose and perspective. And so I always say to people, like, if you're down or if you're having a hard time, any kind of volunteer work you can do is huge.
Yeah. This podcast would not be possible if it weren't for our sponsors. And I would like to thank Everyday Dose for being one of them and supporting us. This is a coffee plus mushroom product. I was blown away by Everyday Dose because they're one of the first companies I've seen to actually list the proprietary blend of ingredients. Most companies are going to turn around and they're going to throw secretive ingredients in there. Everyday Dose does not do that. So they combine a high quality coffee with nootropics and mushrooms. And the different types of mushrooms would be lion's mane or chaga, collagen protein. They bring in these mixtures, which I found allow me to be less jittery. Not only me, but the people I've recommended it to. So less jittery, better brain focus. When I overdo caffeine, I don't like that feeling. And mixing it with these nootropics and mixing it with this mushroom has really eliminated that for me. And it's delicious. It tastes really, really good. It tastes just like coffee without the downside, no crash, no jitters, just clean, sustained energy. Right now for Black Friday, get 61% off your first coffee starter kit. Is that accurate? 61%? It sounds pretty massive. 61. Interesting number. I've never heard that. I like it. Now I'm never going to forget that. So right now for Black Friday, get 61% off your first coffee plus starter kit, a free A2 probiotic creamer, and over $100 in free gifts. So that's value. Plus enter for a chance to win $100 cash or get your entire order refunded. Visit everydaydose.com/stronger or use code STRONGER at the checkout. Give this one a shot. I get hit with so many of these products, and it's one of those things where you don't believe it till you try it. But they really blew my mind, and I've been really enjoying it. This episode of Stronger is presented by ExpressVPN. My business moved fully online in 2020 due to the pandemic. And I didn't realize how often you are going to be exposed. And for so many of us, privacy is an afterthought, right? So using the internet without ExpressVPN, imagine taking a call on the train and just reading off your credit card number. The reason why I'm bringing that up is because I had to do that the other day and I'm literally whispering. So, but don't do that, please. But, ExpressVPN is your security system online. So with ExpressVPN, 100% of your traffic is rerouted through secure, encrypted servers. So your service provider can't see your browsing history. ExpressVPN is like having tinted windows for your internet connection. Very cool. You can see out, but no one else can see in. It's easy to use and works on all devices, phones, laptops, tablets, and more, so you can stay private on the go. Right now, listeners of Stronger can get up to 4 months of ExpressVPN for free. So head to expressvpn.com/stronger to check out their plans. 4 months free? Why not? Why not? What do you have to lose? Secure your online data today by visiting expressvpn.com/stronger. That's expressvpn.com/stronger to find out how you can get up to 4 extra months free. expressvpn.com/stronger. ExpressVPN, thank you again for your support. It's fun to see actors feed off each other's energy, right?
Yeah.
Like I'm sure you've been on sets where you're working with someone that's just inspiring and they're pushing you and challenging you.
Oh, especially on a film, like my relationship with the director is so important on a film because it's really their sandbox. This is their story that they're playing. And I'm getting in and going, oh, how are we playing in this? How do you like to work? Do you like to do one take like Steven Soderbergh or Bradley? Sometimes we only did one take. Do you like to really talk about the process, or is it all up to me? Do I need to insulate myself and protect myself, or do I open myself up? And there's so many different ways to work, but especially on a film, episodic, sometimes you're working with 4 or 5 directors. So you're kind of maintaining the through line a little bit more than they are, and maybe the producers or the showrunner is. But in a film, like that's your leader. That's your coach. They're setting the tone on the set. They're setting the template for how you're going to go about creating this thing every day.
But of course, they have a vision going in there.
It's totally up to them. And you're kind of having to, if you haven't had the benefit of a rehearsal before, which is very rare, you're kind of having to suss that out in the moment. So I remember, it's a little blue, so I won't get too far into it, but the first scene I did in Magic Mike, part of it ended up getting cut from the film because it was too risque, but I had to do something really intense.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like really intense, and it was all in one shot. And I didn't realize at the time that Steven Soderbergh really likes to do one take. And I think we'd done like a couple tiny things, but they were easy things. And this ended in like a close-up of my face. And I had to do some really intense things. And I said to him, he was like, all right, we got it. We're moving on after the first take. And I was like, Steven, I know you think we got it, but I will do one take for you now that I know you work this way the entire rest of the shoot, but please just give me a second take.
Did he do it or no?
He did.
Oh, and then he decided to pull it?
Well, I don't know if he decided to pull it or the ratings board decided to pull it, but yeah, it was pretty intense.
I thought that movie was awesome.
It was so fun. Oh my gosh.
It's just a fun
He's
movie.
still a good friend of mine. I love Steven. I love working with him. I love the way he works, but I didn't know going into it. And it was something that was easy to kind of get self-conscious about. Yeah. And I felt like I was just in my head instead of in the moment in the scene. So I needed that second take because it was a close-up where you can really see what somebody's thinking. I needed one more take to get out of my own way.
I thought it was a great movie. And I thought McConaughey and it would just,
oh my gosh.
He was incredible.
It was so inspiring to watch him.
He was
I mean, he's such a great actor and he was in such a zone.
He played he played like a perfect character though.
Yeah,
he played like the strip club owner who was like, just like kind of self-absorbed, but thought he was smarter than he was type of thing at times. It was just,
and he walked it and he talked it and he was Dallas the whole time he was on that set, baby. Movie. Yeah, it was a lot of fun and a great group of guys and incredible. Talk about a team. Everybody on that shoot had a team mentality, truly. And so that went so far. Channing was just so inclusive with everybody. And, when you have to do something like that with people, like it does bond you in a way.
Oh yeah, you guys are seeing you guys. You
got to walk through the fire together.
It's real. I've heard great things about Channing though.
He's wonderful. He's great. Such a great guy.
Talented too.
So generous of spirit. So talented.
Yeah, he really is.
I mean, he really is. Watching him take to take in scenes, he's a really, really talented guy.
Boy, can dance too, man.
He defies the laws of physics. He actually defies because he's a big guy.
Yeah, he's
like
small.
6'2".
Yeah,
and the way his body, I'm like, are your bones like feather light? Like how do you move that quickly when you're such a big dude? It really defies the laws of physics. He's a total
athlete. So getting into that now, you guys had to be in an exceptional shape for that role. And it's not something that you had to, most people come to me and they have to create something. And that's what gets interesting of my job because I have to sit down with the actor and say, well, what are we trying to create and what direction do you need to go in? This isn't just about making people look like Brad Pitt in Fight Club.
Yeah.
It's like, well, do we need to get bigger? Do we need to put on more body fat? Do we need to lose body fat? And that had to be interesting for you because, I mean, you've always been in great shape.
I mean,
right?
Okay. I think there were times when I think physical exercise has always been huge for me.
Right.
As you know, like it's like therapy for me.
Oh yeah.
I need it in my life or I go cuckoo. So I feel like that's always been important to me, but it's only through meeting people like you and getting to work with you and other people who have a lot more know-how than I do that I've actually feel like I've really been able to get in shape holistically as opposed to just what might look good on camera,
Yeah, and that's something that you and I are both born in 77. You're 77 baby, 77, right? Yeah. What are you, October?
October.
Yeah, I'm tax day. I'm April 15th. But we're both, nice. I mean, so we're going to be, damn man, I'm going to be
48.
I am 48. I'll be 49.
Oh yeah, got it. Okay,
holy
yes, you had to turn 48. So yeah, I'll be 48 in October.
Yeah, you're not there yet.
Not there yet.
We're pushing the 50. Do you feel like, because your physique looks like it's improved throughout the years?
Well, thanks to you.
Well, no, I mean, listen,
no,
you're the one doing the work.
I really don't think
that.
I put on like I didn't like change suit sizes until I started working with you. But it was important to me, and we talk about this, that especially going into my 50s, which is a time when it is so hard to put on muscle mass, to go in with as much muscle mass as possible.
Oh yeah.
Obviously, different roles require different things. We're gonna have to adjust. Yeah, so I'm always having to mix that up. I've lost 40 something pounds for a role before. I've put on 15. So I don't want to do that too much more with my body if I can help it. But sometimes people want you really lean. Sometimes people want you pudgy or whatever it is that they see as, and I don't say that in a disparaging way. They just want you to carry a little extra weight.
You take a really smart approach to it, which most people don't want to take. And you're always lean, but I think over the last few months, we tried putting on some muscle. Yeah. And I think it was an opportunity for you too. And now it's like, all right, you're like, we gotta, not like you have to tighten up, but for the role, you want to tighten up a little bit more. Easy play on you.
Yeah.
Because I feel like 365 days a year, you're always probably 2 to 3 weeks out from being exactly where you want to be. No, it's a huge
That's out of just sheer terror about it.
Yeah. I mean, because you don't want to, you feel good. It makes you feel good. It's not about the vanity piece of it.
No.
You do it because of this.
Absolutely. It's all about my head game. And sorry, that sounds like a strange thing to say. I should rephrase that. No, it is very much a mental thing for me. Like just to maintain my sanity. I think that meditation, some of the other things you talked about, the modalities like cold plunge, sauna, things like, if I'm lucky enough to have access to those things, those are huge for me. And I'm one of those people who realized, thankfully, early on, how important diet was for me.
Right.
Because I got to be 27 and I thought I looked okay or whatever. My face was swollen. I was on antibiotics for my skin. I felt terrible. I felt 60 years old at 27. And I thought, this can't be my life for the next however many years.
How'd you change it? How were the things that you changed?
I read. I read book after book after book after book after book because I knew that what was being provided, and not to disparage medical Western medicine, because I think it's fantastic and I think it's definitely something we all need, but I wasn't getting from a doctor what I felt like I needed to thrive as a person. And so I thought, okay, I'm going to have to go with my doctor and then research on my own, like, how am I going to get to a better place? And I realized that for me, what I eat shows up in my face. What I drink shows up in my face, whether 100%. I like it or not. I'm so jealous of people who can like go out and drink like a fish and like show up looking like $1 million the next day. Like I just can't do it.
But most
I'll look
can't.
like a different human being.
Yeah,
and honestly, thank God I can't, because that could lead you to real troubles too, right? But so reading, learning about nutrition and all those things and what foods work for me, starting to test my body a little bit deeper and find out, okay, well, what kind of foods am I sensitive to? And realizing that I was eating all these things that were like showing up in the red zone on food sensitivity things, like just kind of working with my body and like actually for the first time having an actual dialogue with my body as opposed to letting everybody else tell me what to do to my body.
The basic things that you do nutritionally, like, could you share with us? Like, and it doesn't have to be fancy, but everyone's looking for this fancy formula of like, oh, well, what vitamins, and like you do things, it's your protein, you get your vegetables. It's nothing fancy. Can you just talk about it?
It's not fancy at all.
Right.
I mean, for me, it obviously a lot of it depends on what our goals are when you and I are working together. Like if we're trying to put on some weight, I know I have to eat more. So, and that's something you kind of had to break me of, remember? Because I was all about food combining, a lot of protein and vegetables. And you're like, it's okay to like dip into some carbs every now and then too. Throw those into the meal too. And that really changed the game for me. So I try to keep one meal a liquid meal. And then 2 regular meals over the course of the day. And if I snack, I try to make sure it's whole foods or somewhat healthy. When I say liquid meal, that could be, if it's a light day, it could be like a green smoothie. If it's a day where I know I'm going to be working out a lot, it could be a protein shake, but I always throw some veggies and whole foods into the protein shake if I can too. And then, I'm kind of a nerd about it. I like make my own like macadamia nut milk at home and stuff that. So,
it's fun.
But I think your program is so great.
No, appreciate it.
And it's so accessible to everybody. And I think it's such a great price point, which is why I've gotten so many of my friends on it.
Thank you.
Because you have a wealth of diet information on there too, which is obviously clearly researched and backed up and scientifically as well. And it's not prohibitive in a way that I feel like is going to make anybody feel like they're giving up their happiness.
That nutrition guide really kind of becomes your life's work, because you start working on it at a young age and it evolves in time, and then you like create a macro area and you're like, well, what about people who aren't using macros? And you're always trying to deliver something. But if you go look at all the foods, it's like you and I eat the same. It's a protein, it's a fibrous carbohydrate, and it's a veg or a fruit, or like all the food you eat is powerful, but you allow yourself at times to go deviate from that, and you might do it and you feel good and you get back on it. I think it's important for someone like you to get into these phases where you do try and put on a little bit of muscle and you do get your calories higher, because now we're getting into a little bit more of a cut. Your metabolism is going to be so much more efficient.
Yes.
And it's just going to vacuum seal up.
And I think it's good to shock your body every now and again, like you're saying.
100%.
I try to keep my sugar pretty low, but every now and again, I'm like, I'm going to have some gelato.
Oh, hell yeah.
And like, I actually find that my body responds better to doing that every now and again than if I abstain all the time, or if I partake all the time.
Right.
So that one little shock kind of like kicks my body into overdrive, and
you probably sleep a little bit better, and you're probably waking up the next day feeling a little bit more vascular, a little bit fuller, energy's a little bit higher. It's like, don't do it every night, but on the other hand, don't give it up for a year.
Yes.
Giving those mental breaks too, I think keeps things fresh. I think recently you told me that you were doing a little trip with the fam, and I was like, start the program after. And I told you, because I don't worry about you, I'm like, just take the 3 days, and if you're going to have some food, don't feel bad about it. Like, you're going to come back, you're going to be good. I think that's important also, that people understand that you're on the plan, but that plan, the purpose of it is so when you deviate off, you know what to get back to. And I think you've kind of mastered that.
I don't know if I mastered it. I do. I try to use it as incentive, and at times too, like I know I've been on long shoots where they want me to look a certain way for like 6 months at a time, and then there's nothing I get more excited about than having like, that bowl of frozen yogurt with all the toppings when I wrap. You know what I mean?
It's a lot of pressure though, man. When you got to be on, and have you done much theater?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. What do you?
I started in theater. I actually only ever thought I was going to do theater. That's what I thought. I mean, I was like, oh, maybe at some point I'll get to be on a TV show or in a movie, who knows? But that's what my training was in. That's what I started out doing. And that's what I thought I was going to be doing the rest of my life. And I try to get back and do it when I can. But for me, it's got to be a really, really appealing job at the right time of year to take me away from everybody, because you really can't come home when you're in a play, because you get 1 day off a week.
Well, the reason why I brought it up is there's no retakes.
Oh,
right?
no.
There's no like, my body doesn't look good in that,
No.
and let's reshoot it. And I've even found, working with people in musical theater, I think it's one of the hardest things you guys have to do.
Yes.
For me,
I would say especially the people who do musicals, the actors who do musicals.
Oh my God.
I went to one last night. I went to go see Death Becomes Her last night, which is so funny, so fun. But they're working so hard up there.
Unbelievable.
And what they're putting their bodies through, and sometimes they're on a raked stage. These girls doing jumps and kicks on a stage that's angled in like high heels. I mean, I can't imagine what that does to your body 8 times a week, and they're out there loving every second of it. It's so inspiring to see.
It's like, and what'd you say, days off on what, Monday?
Monday.
That's it, right?
I think it can change. Some people maybe can get Sundays sometimes, depending.
What's it, matinee Wednesdays and
Wednesdays and Saturdays.
What's that? That's like 12 o'clock and 8 o'clock, or
no, I think it's 3 p.m. and 8.
3 p.m. and 8. What was the last theater that you did?
Last theater I did was Boys in the Band on Broadway.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I
had to be naked in that.
Oh, did you really?
So I had to be really disciplined.
How'd you feel about that? Because I've worked with some people that had to have done that, and they're very like, hey, listen, it's part of the role. Like, was there any awkwardness there, or did you feel like I just kind of jumped into it? And it's the human body, and it's a beautiful thing. Like,
I was terrified. I'll be honest with you. I was like, wait, let's talk about this a little further.
Yeah.
Because there was discussion as to like how long I'd be naked and things like that. And I was like, look, if we're all getting naked, I'll be naked as long as you want. If it's just me getting naked, it's going to be quick. And so I think that was definitely, and thankfully it was tasteful. It made sense in the scene. It was actually important because I'm with my character's best friend, who they kind of had a love thing with at some point. So it was kind of important to convey how intimate they were in a way, even though they were having this very superficial conversation. They had that level of intimacy at one time. So God bless poor Jim Parsons. I had to be naked in front of him the whole time. He's the best.
I worked with him for years.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he was a member of my club, him and Todd. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's who I had to be naked on stage with. Oh my God. But he was the star of Boys in the Band.
He's fantastic.
Great guys, great actor, great person. But yeah, so it was brief. I think what is kind of, gave me pause in this day and age is there's so many people who go to the theater and pull their phones out. And they're taking pictures of you the whole time. They're videoing instead of just sitting and doing what makes theater so electric, which is it'll only ever happen like this one time with this audience. That's what makes it so gratifying as a performer. It's like, you don't know where it's going to go in that performance. And to kind of sacrifice that experience to like take pictures of somebody naked on stage or video it, it's just like, oh man,
it kind of ruins the experience a little bit for everyone. Yeah. And I mean, honestly, being in the audience, I don't really want to see that. I don't like when people pull out a phone.
Oh no! I mean, if it's curtain call or something, like go ahead, do your thing. But for the experience from when that curtain comes up to when it comes down, like to me, that's like the closest thing we have to the way storytelling started, which is some dude, standing up in front of a campfire and telling him how the hunt went that day or whatever it is. I know that sounds cheesy to even say, but that's what theater is to me. It's like holy in a way, because you're having that experience one time only with that group of people. No one's ever going to laugh the same at a certain place. No one's ever going to, I mean, some things are reliable, but there's always going to be something that's different every time.
The family piece in conjunction with work, do you find that's become a big challenge, right? Like there's specific roles or locations. You got twins, right? And you got one son that's away in college.
Yeah.
Do you find that you and your husband have to sit down a lot and talk about what's the commitment here? Where do you want to be away that far? I mean, I know I do it with my wife on projects that might only be a week or two. And that's like, all right, well, what do we want to do? Do we want to really is this something that I want to be away? Like that's got to be, this is your job, right?
Yes.
Like this has got to be a challenge.
Well, I'm really fortunate that I have a family that really supports what I do. And I think I remember someone saying to me early on when they were little kids, because I got white collar like right after the twins were born. And then, so from the first 6 years of their life, I was commuting across country. And somebody said, make sure they know how much you love it. And so I would work 60 hours a week on that show, fly back Saturday morning to LA, and then fly back to New York Sunday afternoon and start work again on Monday. And I was in every day on that show for the most part.
It's tough.
So it was a grind for sure, but I love them so much, and I love the opportunity I was getting so much. So sometimes it has to be worth it, and it's always a discussion. I will tell you, I'm not going to call it a hack, but it's something I learned from a child psychologist, because when I got white collar, I met with a child psychologist. I was like, what am I going to do?
Yeah.
We have a 3-year-old and
Smart.
newborns. I'm commuting all the time. Like, how do I stay present in our lives? And she gave me this, I'll save everybody the thousands of dollars I paid to get this information. She said, make a children's book. Because you have to do it in a way that they'll understand. Because when they're 3, they don't understand like, hey, I'm going here, I'm doing everything is so numinous and dreamy to them. They don't have any sense of time. So I made a children's book. I'm not a good artist, but I basically cut photos of all of us out, and I made stick figures of myself, and I said it was called Maddie Goes to Work. And it was like me on a plane going to New York, and then I'm going to be back for Easter, and then I'm going to be back for your birthday.
It's like a timeline.
It was a timeline that they could understand in children's book form. And at the end of the book was, and then we're all back together at home again, and all is well.
Oh, so they're able to go through that timeline with you and know Dad's coming back
in a way that they can understand.
Yeah, that's
and
brilliant.
So, and obviously we talked on the phone, and then over the course of filming and that, FaceTime and all those things became more of a reality. But that helped them to understand and kind of wrap their heads around, that I love what I do, and the fact that I was going to be home again and when I was going to be home again.
FaceTime's amazing now. I mean, thinking about 20, 30 years ago when we didn't have that, think about like the value it's added. I know for me, I mean, people knock social media and sometimes they get on technology, and I'm like, wow, this is, if you know how to use it.
I think that's the key.
Go overboard. You got to know how to use it.
And you have to have the self-control to use it properly.
Right.
I think we've all been lured into the algorithm at some point or another and gone, oh, wait, where did the last 2 hours of my life go?
Yeah, I've really tried. That's one thing that I've tried to be cognizant of, is making sure that, I'm busy with work, and a couple minutes I'll go through and I'll try and respond to people, or I'll try and do those things. But like surfing is something I'm really trying to avoid.
I think Andrew Huberman said it really well, when you come to the internet as opposed to letting it come to you. So kind of do it on your terms when you're going on to post something and share your content. And then if there's things you want to check in on or whatever, that's fine, but kind of have a structured set of time to do it. Mm-hmm. That's when I'm not perfect at all in this situation. I'm highly imperfect. That's when I'm the guy who got a TikTok account just to make sure our kids weren't posting anything that was questionable. Not that they would, but they're young kids. And then all of a sudden I got lured into the algorithm.
You never know.
So, but I think if I can keep time, timelines specific as to how long I'm going to be,
100%. That was one thing that did worry me when I was, we're still raising our kids, but with social media, that communication aspect of how I turned to my son one day, he was, I think, going out with a girl or something like that. And I said, do you guys call? And he's like, no, we just kind of message each other. Snap. And I'm like, what do you mean? Why don't you just call up and hear their voice? And he goes, Dad, no one does that. And I'm like, really? Like this is, so now I'm one to just pick up a phone and call people. And people are like, is everything all right? And I'm like, everything's fine. I'm fucking calling you for God's sakes. Like I need to hear your tone. I need to hear your voice. And I don't want it to be misconstrued by my delivery where you're thinking I'm, being aggressive or agitated, or I think tone is so important.
Oh, absolutely. I think just the fact that you shared that with them is so enlightening because it text you, there's no context really.
Right.
There's no social clues via text. It can all be taken out of context. And you can, like you said, you don't hear the tone of their voice. You can't see what's going on in their eyes. Like you don't know what's happening with them. So the fact that you use FaceTime, I think is great. I need to be better with FaceTime. Sometimes I get annoyed when I call them on FaceTime, but I do have to check in at least on the phone.
At times I'm starting to feel old because they are saying things now and I'm like, what the hell is Riz? What does this mean? Like they're saying certain things and I'm like, what? Yeah. And it's funny, but they become, our kids are around the same age. So they become young adults where you really feel like, I'm sure you and your husband feel the same as Melissa and I, where like you get together with them and it's like fun. It's interesting.
Yes.
It's like
you
I'd
have
rather
deep
be
conversations about politics and the landscape and the social dynamics at school and things like that, you realize, wow, they have their own unique take on things and they see the world in a very specific way. And all three of our kids are so different. Yeah. They're such different boys. So to get to see how they see the world individually is just it's so cool.
It's awesome.
So rewarding.
Hey Chris, do we have any callers today?
We have 3 great questions for Matt.
Oh wow, I'm excited.
Ooh, 3. I like that number.
This is a question for Matt from Luciana.
Hi Matt. Hi Don. My name is Luciana and I just have to say I love you both, truly. Matt, my question for you is, has your approach to training changed over the years? Or do you still train mostly to prepare for roles? Or has long-term health become more of a priority for you? How do you balance the both too? How often do you actually get to train for your personal goals like health and well-being, while also meeting the demands of the roles you take on? Thank you so much for the opportunity to asking this, Don. I already love the new podcast and I wish you both all the best always. Mwah.
Very, very nice.
Wow. Thank you, Luciana.
Great question.
Great question.
So she was asking pretty much how's your training changed throughout the years? But I think what's even more interesting is how do you balance out training for personal and training for roles? And that was interesting.
Well, that's why you're grateful if you get to work with somebody like Don who can somehow figure out how to encapsulate all those things into one training program. Even if we throw in little modulations here or there where I can, just want to titrate something just a little bit and you can be like, okay, add in some more zone 2 cardio 3 days a week or throw in a couple hit sessions or whatever it is. So I think a lot of it's, you could start with Don's programs for that, but it has changed and evolved over the years. I think when I was doing white collar and I was working 70 hours a week, I was just trying to, oftentimes I was getting into the gym at the end of a 12-hour day. So I was just like throwing together 3 sets of, of an exercise and trying to hit every body part over the course of the week and just trying to, get through it. But sometimes like when we have time to luxuriate a little, not luxuriate, but we have, more than like 2 months between a role, like you and I will go, okay, what do we want to do personally at this time? So in the best of both worlds, it's a combination of personal and goal, project specific goals.
See, that's what I love. That's what I love that what you do is you're also understanding that it doesn't always have to be the scale of 1 to 10, going all out every single day. Like there's times on shoots you're going to be exhausted.
Yeah.
And going in and just what I like to say is just throwing a little bit of kindling on the fire and keeping that flame lit is really the approach I think you've embraced. And that's why I think you're in the shape and you have the health that you have.
Well, I got a long way to go, but I will say that like on Fellow Travelers, it started in the 50s and ended in the 80s. So I couldn't do a modern workout while I was, doing scenes where I was going to be partially clothed. And so I found this, old Canadian military workout from like the 50s called 5BX or something like that. It's online. It's super easy, but it's basically like push-ups, sit-ups, and it evolves over that there are different charts as you evolve.
It kind of increases volume over time.
Yeah, it can be pop squats or toe touches, and then some back raises. And that's all I did over the course of that shoot. And then I would do a time under tension once a week on the weekends. So sometimes it can be period specific too. Like I don't want to be in a restoration film looking like I'm working out in 2025. Right. So ideally I'll have the time to kind of adjust that. And you're great about funding, even if it's just body weight stuff, to do in order to sort of keep those goals and not take anybody out of a project that you're filming.
100%. I mean, there's some weird roles I've had to get people ready for. And sometimes it does appear like you have to get them in worse shape. But in the end of the day, I want them to still feel healthy and resilient, even though they're playing someone that looks a lot worse than how they would normally look in real life. So I thought that was a great question.
Great question, Luciana. Thank you.
Chris, next one.
Next up is Eddie.
Hey guys, it's Eddie. Matt, I got to know how long it took you to transform your body to be one of the actors in Magic Mike. How difficult was it for you? How long it took you? And most importantly, was there any point of the time where you felt that you want to throw the towel? I'm more interested to hear the mindset that you had to go through in order to achieve that physique that you were in at that point. And I'm sure you are still in that physique. Thank you.
I wish I was still in that physique.
You look the
Thank
same.
you so much, Eddie, for the question. The first film, I didn't have a ton of time, and I had to get married in between when I wrapped that season of White Collar and when I started the film.
Oh, wow.
So I was like, it was the first time I really started taking creatine and like really upping my protein quotient and things like that. And I remember just anybody I saw who was like jacked, I would say, what do you do? Because I didn't have a trainer really at the time. And then I worked with a trainer, Ryan Farhoudi in LA at that time, who was fantastic for just like tightening it up right before I got on. But I think what I had to realize, especially because I think I was the smallest guy in the film, was that I couldn't try to like, be Channing or be Joe Manganiello or
Joe's huge.
He's
a monster.
And there were bigger people in the film too, so I couldn't try to be one of them. I just had to kind of just make the best of what I had. And so I think I had maybe like 2.5 months. So it was pretty intensive, it was pretty quick. But the second one, I had just lost 50 pounds or close to 50 pounds for a role in a movie, which is much harder. Oh, yeah. And then I had to, when I came back to my body weight, first of all, I was not responsible for that. I got something called refeeding syndrome, which can kill you, was not smart. It was my own bad. I take responsibility for it. But I could barely do like a squat with the bar. I was like so weak. And so that was a much longer process to get back to doing the second film. And I was just so grateful to my body. I basically made a contract with my body. I was like, I will feed you so well. I will get all the rest I can. I'll try to be the best parent and partner I can, but I'll also try to take care of myself. If you just come back for me and have me showing up.
50 pounds?
Yeah, close to it, yeah.
So what did you drop to? What was your body weight?
I stopped weighing myself after I got below 130 because it scared me. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
How long do you feel like it took you to kind of come back to a place of being like, all right, I'm healthy again?
Not nearly as long as it took me to lose it. I'll tell you that much. There's a reason why I got refeeding syndrome.
Wow.
Yeah, because you're not at a certain point. I had gone through with a doctor and I got into kind of a threshold where I couldn't drop any more weight. And Matthew McConaughey had given me this diet that he'd done for Dallas Buyers Club.
Oh, yeah.
And so I started implementing what he told me to do. And when I did that, then I started to continue to like aggressively drop weight. It was scary. And I wasn't in a great like mental place. I didn't have like all my faculties about me.
I'm like one of the worst people to ask about extreme weight loss diets. I've had people contact me like, I'm in this charity thing and we're giving, and they're like, I have to lose 20 pounds. And I'm like,
next.
I can't. But like refeeding, which is what you need. Like I would have, if you ever have to lose again, we'll strategize your reverse dieting approach.
I don't know that I'd do that again unless
don't do it
really
again.
The role of a lifetime. I think I came knocking on death's door there for a second, but it was totally worth it for that project.
Sure.
And I would do it again. I feel like the writer of that project is someone who in a way I feel like I owed my life to. So I was more than happy to do that for the people I was representing and the film and all that. It is pretty costly. And it's my fault that I went rogue.
That's okay.
Because I had medical supervision. And then when it stopped working that route, I was like, all right, McConaughey.
Do your
Let's
friend a
go.
favor over here. Don't do that to me. All right. I'll give you a heart attack.
No. But I learned a lot from that. But that was obviously a much thornier road to get back to,
How many years ago was that?
That was 2012 or 13.
So it was 12 years ago, right?
Yeah.
Well, all right.
Yeah.
You're back. Chris, last question.
Last question. Last question is going to be from Tara. And this is a fun one. Here is Tara's question.
Hi, Matt and Don. My name is Tara, and I have a question for Matt. Matt, you and the entire cast of Mid-Century Modern were fabulous. I was wondering what was your favorite episode to film and whether comedy is something you would like to do more of in the future. Thank you for taking my question and have a great day.
Oh, Tara, that's so nice of you
Very nice.
to start. And thank you for watching the show. Thank you for supporting it. I mean, it was really, I would say multicam comedy is definitely its own beast. It's a very specific type of acting that I really knew nothing about. So I was just watching the people around me, Nathan Lane, Linda Lavin, Nathan Lee Graham, who were just so great at that type of comedy and just trying to learn on the fly. But that's kind of what scared me about it, which is what incentivized me to do it in a way. And it was just really thrilling. I would say the film I did with Jonah Hill is a comedy as well, but it's kind of a different maybe style of comedy as opposed to a multicam. But it was so nice, especially having come off of so many serious roles. And in a world stage, not to get political, but they're heavy times right now.
Oh, yeah.
No matter where you affiliate with. And so just to be able to go to work and laugh and get to laugh with my peers and my heroes was
Keep it loose a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, you don't get to loosen up too much in that medium because it's moving so fast. But just to get to to cut loose a little bit, and just to laugh was it was such a gift. And something I definitely don't take for granted. In terms of my favorite episode, there's a pickleball episode that was really fun, I guess. I guess maybe that's my favorite. Yeah.
That's pretty cool. I didn't think you were going to even be able to answer that because a lot of times I feel like actors are shooting different scenes at different times and they don't really.
Not on this medium.
Yeah. Oh, really?
Yeah, you're doing an episode a week.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, you do 2 weeks in a row, then you take a week off. Then you do 2 weeks in a row and take a week off, which is such a luxury.
But that's not always that. That's not.
No, on Fellow Travelers, I was doing 8 hours, and sometimes I was doing something from hour 6 at the same time, hour 2. You know what I mean? It was all over the place.
So you wouldn't always know what the episodes actually look like until it's put together until the season's launch. Yeah.
No, and you had to have a sense of the sort of trajectory of everything. I wrote out a timeline just because I was like, if I'm jumping all around, I can't keep every second of 8 hours of content in my head at all times. I mean, I was obviously very familiar with it, but the scripts came in shortly before we started filming, and then you're in the first 2,
Right.
So some of them came in earlier. So I had a little bit of a head start, but I just needed that to look at and go, okay, this is where I am and this is what's transpired before this scene. And thankfully we had a great writer who was on set, and Ron Nicewaner, who was just there for us for anything. If I was ever lost in the story at all, he was right there for me. But yeah, this you get to do an episode at a time. So, and in comedy, it's a little bit more, it's a little bit more obvious when, when you've been given good writing it was always great writing, but for a specific episode, when the jokes work a little bit better because you get the direct feedback from people.
Yeah, and people are dying on set or trying to keep it together. Sometimes that's got to happen, right?
Sometimes, yeah, but
can't keep it together.
It is, Jimmy Burrows only does one take. So, and then they'll either move on if they're like, we're happy with that, or they'll rewrite some of your dialogue, or they'll rewrite a ton of your dialogue. Wow. And sometimes everybody else gets rewrites. You don't get any rewrites. Sometimes you get a lot of rewrites. Other people don't.
You're like, what the hell did I do?
Yeah. No, but to me, that was kind of the most exciting thing.
Yeah.
Because they literally, there's an audience of hundreds of people. They pull you aside. They're like, okay, here are the new jokes we're going to try on this take. And you get one joke, 3 new jokes, and you don't even have time to get in your head about it. You're just laying it out the first time, trying to remember the words, you know what I mean? And sometimes that can go wrong, and sometimes it can go so right. And there are so many times on this when what ended up in the episode, we only ever did that one time ever. We never rehearsed it or anything. So something about that was also really thrilling. Yeah.
Well, listen, I cannot thank you enough for your time. I know you're all over the place. And this was, I got to be honest, this was a very special episode for me. I mean, I'm bringing all my friends and the people I'm really close to. Ironic, up until today, me and you have talked a lot. We've been on FaceTime calls. We never actually met in person. So to be able to come in and give you a hug and just grateful that I got the opportunity to get to know you and call you a friend. And I know with your family and your life and everything going on right now, the fact that you put aside time to come down here is something that I'll always be grateful for. And thank you. And my daughter, and thank you.
Don, you've been so great to me, and from my understanding of health and wellness and exercise, and we've been training remotely for a couple of years now, and you've just made such a huge impact on my life as a person and as a professional. So thank you for all you do for me. I'd be here anytime for you.
Well, listen, man, you made me look good. You're one of the easiest people I've ever worked with, and I want to thank the team at the Post. I want to thank Christian Ponder. The facility that he gave us access to is incredible. It's private. It's everyone coming in here absolutely loves it. Listen, thanks again.
Yeah, thank you so much, Don.
The views, information, or opinions expressed in the series are solely those of the individuals involved and do not necessarily represent those of Chip and Joanna Gaines, Binel Audio, nor Magnolia.